to the Arcade Heroes podcast. I believe it's episode 8 or 9. Doesn't matter. It's the newest episode of September 3rd, 2015. So whatever number that happens to be. I'm Adam Pratt. I'm with ArcadeHeroes.com. And joining me, as he has for all the previous episodes since we rebooted, is Sean McDermott from All Castle Games. Good day, Sean.
Good day, Adam. How's it going?
I am dandy or fine or whatever. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Getting through some sickness, but I'm going full speed ahead.
So you're telling us you're under the weather.
Well, yeah, but I don't get sick days. How about you? You don't get sick days, do you?
That does tend to happen when you are self-employed, I guess.
Life goes on.
Yeah. Just play the cheesy song, whatever that is.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess other than not feeling terribly the best, how's business been lately?
Well, it's the end of the movie season, so we're going into repair mode. And we've been selling a lot of games this week. We sold our Simpsons game. We sold a Primal Rage. So those will be headed out to some, awesome customers that hopefully enjoy them. Actually was finishing up the Simpsons game today. With, an LCD monitor.
Blasphemy, thou shalt be banished.
And micro switch controllers.
Where's blasphemy? It's not original.
Oh, yeah. I mean, some people like the stuff to work,
Ooh, throwing down the
yeah. Other than that, it's the usual stuff. Oh, we're planning to put our initial D5 through a window, so that's going to be awesome. I wonder if I should film
that. You mean like destroying it?
Oh no, I wish. Well, we're going to try not to break the window. We're gonna lift it up and put it in like a window, and then try to get it back down.
Gotcha. I thought for a second, I was thinking of like the Todd Tucky thing, throwing games off a building for a second there, and so I was like, oh, so you're going to just throw it through a window. Okay, then. I see what you mean now.
Well, that could happen. I mean, the glass could break still. I mean, there's a chance. Sure. I just went over that yesterday. There's a big initial D tournament going on for us in Sheboygan in October, so... there's this whole thing. It's like, do we put the new game in before, since they're practicing on version 2, and we're going to put a version 5 in? I probably want to have the cards right away. A lot of people are, like, leveling up their cards, But then it's like, I don't really want to be doing stuff through windows when there's snow. So,
yeah.
They may have to suffer a little. Oh, my God, they're getting a new game.
More blasphemy.
I don't know. So... we're giving away an Xbox and everything, or a PS4, whatever you want. It's pretty much a free tournament, so sort of.
As long as it's bringing in the play, then that's what matters, right?
Oh yeah, they're playing that thing like. That's why I kind of feel bad that we're going to switch it out on them, but I sort of like warned them a little bit. I said, hey, it may be on this game, it may be on the other one. We're not sure yet. We got to work out the details on getting this thing through a window, which is probably one of the craziest things I've ever attempted to do.
Right.
I mean, if you saw if you just being there and seeing it, I probably should make a video of it. Maybe I will, if I don't, if I'm not dead. But how's things going in the old game grid over there?
The old game grid.
Old game grid.
Well, the summertime is waning, and that means school started. For some reason, a lot of the school districts over here decided to start like middle of August and in the middle of the week. Like, I've never seen that before.
That's weird.
It's starting in the middle of the week. And so with that, I guess our slower season started a little earlier than usual. But... of course, Labor Day weekend is fast approaching, and so that's always usually the last hurrah of the summer season for us. And I'm sure a lot of other locations that probably see boosts during the summertime when school's out. But yeah, I've just been busy maintaining games, getting things fixed. Bought a lot of fluorescent bulbs to switch those out.
Ooh.
Wishing I could find a solution to to replace the fluorescent ballast and everything with something LED.
I told you a solution, man.
You have to send these things to me in writing. I don't remember anything. But
I thought I sent you a part number.
maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Who's to know? It was on my private server in the bathroom.
Can't go into that realm on this show. We're gonna alienate some viewers.
But it's so easy. You set it up. But yeah, I cannot confirm nor deny without the secretary's approval what might have happened to that message. And speaking of that, I saw Mission Impossible this weekend.
Oh, really? Is that
the new one? Yeah, actually, I was surprised. I mean, you kind of figure that movies like that, when they're at sequel number 5 or 6 or whatever it is at this point, would just get really old and stale. But it was pretty good. I didn't have anything I could say I'd complain about.
Oh,
Granted, I couldn't really remember much from the last Mission Impossible.
All I remember from the last one was like he's hanging from that building, and he did it for real.
In Dubai, right.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. And that's the thing I could say about this that is pretty cool is just the stunts, if they were real or if they weren't. I mean, they made it. It was one of the few movies that I've seen this year where it made me say, wow, how did they do that? And I like that because I think that's something that's been lost from film for a long time, or at least the past several years, is everything CG. So you never say that. You're just like, oh, computers, whatever. But when they actually do real stunts, and you're like, huh, I wonder how they pulled that off exactly. You know, it's kind of like the magician tricks or whatever. But anyways,
I'll have to get over there and see it. I get free movies too.
Yeah, take advantage of that.
Speaking of movies, there's this movie coming out in December. You might have heard of it. It's called Star Wars. Heard of that movie?
Star Wars. So
it's about some wars between stars. I don't know.
About magical space wizards?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think
Someone's
I've heard of that
dorkly
before.
Anyway, I went to our usual plush supplier, which will remain nameless.
Uh-huh.
And I asked her, "Wait, what's going on with the Star Wars plush?" And I got to do that because I need some.
Sure.
And they basically said that Disney doesn't like arcades so much, and I thought that was kind of not cool.
That's an odd answer. I mean,
well, basically, it was kind of off the record. So, I mean, that's basically the attitude that they got. I mean, it's it's pretty much straightforward. They said like, putting Star Wars plush in a retail thing is all good, but as soon as it hits a crane machine, they feel it cheapens the license. So
right. Because I mean, I guess from the perspective that George Lucas ruined the franchise he invented and ruined everybody's childhood with the prequels. I don't know
he was
how you
around.
Get
this wasn't a problem. But
right.
That's why we didn't get no Frozen kits really either. The only thing we got from Frozen was basically off the shelf, like the standard plush people that usually make the stuff couldn't do it, so it was cheaper.
Well, I guess China might come to the rescue, assuming there's going to be any left in China to create knockoff Star Wars plush.
Well, I ordered some Disney Tsum Tsums.
Oh.
Just because they said we're cheapening the license. I did that on purpose. And it's like I will put some Star Wars stuff in there, even if I have to buy it retail. Just they can come sue me. That's fine. But, I don't think that's cool. I mean, I don't see how that. I mean, I can see that some operators are not the greatest, and they don't keep their machines well and stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of operators like Dave & Buster's, and, Namco that keep the machines really good. National Entertainment Group,
right?
And I don't see how that's cheapening things. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't either. Maybe it's the same lady that was at that hearing for the Super Arcade in Southern California, where she's like, well, names like Street Fighter 2 aren't exactly what you would consider high end. And it's like,
Yeah, maybe.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be sexist, but yeah, maybe. I, I don't understand. I mean, these companies go through this every once in a while. You know, we get kicked out of places because of it. And then we get put back in because they want money.
So you don't hate Cash Money then?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
see.
the Minions did really well but that DreamWorks. So
I'm actually right here on outside of my arcade entrance. There's this multi-crane machine. I think it's like 4 cranes, and I can see Minions hanging there still. But seems like that movie didn't do as well as it was supposed to.
I don't care. The plush did. So.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I guess we can mention really quick is the Pixels movie. When I heard the reviews coming out for that and also that it flopped, I really did not expect anything to move as far as classic games go. But all my classics have been up through the whole month of August, especially after the movie came out. And I've even had a few parents mention Pixels, or name drop Pixels when they've come in. And so I guess it's had a stronger effect than I expected. I've also heard that pretty much everything Pac-Man, as far as Namco's handling it, is on back order through October. Like they're having a hard time keeping up with orders.
Of Pac-Man and plush?
Not Pac-Man plush, but Pac-Man video games. Like there's Pac-Man's Arcade Party or the Miss Pac-Man Pac-Man Galaga combo.
Yeah, I don't know if that. Do you think there's a sales of home units that boost? I'm sure there probably was.
Possibly.
I mean,
but yeah, overall, there's been a positive effect, even though the movie bombed. And so, hey, cool. Thanks, everybody. That's boosted those oldie but goodie games up. And I have seen more kids actually giving the games a try, too. That's something I've noted, is seeing kids that would normally not pay any attention whatsoever to Donkey Kong or Miss Pac-Man or Centipede actually go and play the game. And so whether that'll last is a good question.
I didn't really track that stuff. Our main place that we have a good Pac-Man is we have a place that they play Pac-Man all the time. Didn't really show any improvement, and we really don't have too many old things anymore. I mean, I have a Galaga machine. I didn't really look at the numbers. I didn't see any kind of super boost.
Interesting.
We also had the Pac-Man plush. And I don't know. It did okay, but it always does okay. So it's hard to say with the Pixels movie.
With my Pac-Man, there wasn't like this enormous boost because Miss Pac-Man always does well. But Centipede. Normally my Centipede, Millipede, Missile Command combo makes 3 to 7 tokens a week. It's been consistently pulling in 40 tokens a week since Pixels came out. And I know Centipede was in the movie.
Yeah, that has something to do with it.
But then also I've seen kids playing Donkey Kong or Miss Pac-Man. Generally, I'll see adults in their 40s or 50s playing those two games every week. And I have a couple of regulars that come in every day. Like I had the Miss Pac-Man regular come in today and put his 2 tokens into Miss Pac-Man. But I've been seeing more kids or teenagers actually giving those games some play. So that's definitely, at least for me.
Well, I mean, you have more of them in one place. Maybe that helps.
Perhaps.
Well, the Galaga machine went up by $6. So,
Yeah, I do need to get a Galaga. The other day I had a guy ask if we had a Caligula. And obviously, I knew what he was talking about, but that's what we should do, just for a fun article for Arcade Heroes, is name all the weird variations of Galaga that you've heard out there. I know I've heard Galaxy, Caligula. Oh
God, I'm
trying to think of others, or Galaxian. A lot of times they'll say Galaxian, even though they don't mean the actual Galaxian.
Sometimes they go Galagas.
Galagas, right. Reminds me of NBA Jams before. There's no S or Z at the end of that, sir.
Metal Gear Ground Zeroes. Wait.
Right.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Darn it. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. Our Pac-Man Battle Royale. It's hard to say. It went up, but it was moved to a new location. I have incomplete data, so
Yeah, it's always hard when you're moving it around to gauge any boosts, but I guess just checking really quick here. Yeah, my Pac-Man Battle Royale's been up slightly. It hasn't been a huge boost, but it is up just slightly in August over July. So, yeah, there's that. Well, outside of movies and things of that nature, there's been some news in the arcade industry. The thing most are talking about on social media today is the new Guinness Book of World Records 2016 video game edition coming along, where it has a claim for the world's largest arcade machine. And I posted an article on arcadeheroes.com, which you could read right now if you go there. It's going to be the top story. Unless you've read it already, you can always read it again. But I take that to task. I mean, I've thought that the Guinness Book of World Records has often had some odd things that they consider records, or it's just so niche as far as needs to hit this, and this to hit a world record. And I kind of think that's falling along the same lines here, just because even though this arcade cabinet, our upright arcade cabinet that this guy designed in Chicago is pretty tall, it's a little over 13 feet tall.
It looks more than that.
Not exactly the largest arcade machine ever developed.
Well, let's go back to the definition of arcade machine now.
Right, and that's what I mean by where with Guinness it has to get really, really specific, because if you're just saying arcade machine, there's been a lot of developments over the years, as far back as the 80s, of massive cabinets. I mean, one that I didn't mention in the article but just came to mind, Atari back in the 70s, they developed this multi-game trailer that had a bunch of their 70s games inside of it, and it was developed for carnivals, and so you could just drive it into where you have the carnival with all the other carnival rides, open up the doors on the side, and then you have something like 10 games on each side, and something like that is pretty massive. But you also had like Sega Super Circuit, which was developed in 1988. Not sure how many of those were actually made or how many might have showed up in the United States. It was probably a very low number. But it had a huge racetrack and then remote-controlled cars with cameras on them, and you sat inside of a sit-down arcade cabinet.
Oh, yeah, I remember that thing.
Then you could drive the car on the track. And so, I mean, technically, that was an arcade game, a multiplayer arcade game.
Well, let's go back to the definition of arcade
larger
game here. I mean, according to Wikipedia, an arcade game is a coin-operated or coin-operated amusement, coin-operated entertainment machine, usually installed in public businesses such as restaurant bars, particularly amusement arcades. Most arcade games are video games, pinball machines, electromechanical games, redemption games, and merchandisers. So, I mean, the fact it doesn't take money, I think should disqualify it. But that's just me. I'm going to be hard on this thing. I mean,
well, and we'll forgive you for using Wikipedia, but
well, I mean that's all I found in like 10 seconds here. Okay,
I know.
I mean, who knows who wrote that? I mean,
but well, no, I mean, I think overall that definition does fit the bill. It's an out-of-home entertainment device, and the general key thing is out of home. But I mean, even if you were to use the out-of-home sort of thing or not taking money, I mean, the fact of the matter is even if we didn't consider Sega Super Circuit to be the largest arcade machine ever, there's still other things like Outrun Special Deluxe, which had those almost full-size cars that two people could sit in, and it had 4 of them. And 4 screens. There was Ridge Racer Full Scale, which did have a full-size car. Or you had the Indy 500, which was at the GameWorks in Las Vegas for a long time, and I think some other locations might have had that, where they had, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, was that full-size or really close to full-size Indy 500 cars, cabinets that you would sit in, and it had 8 of them. So, I mean, just one of those things. Just because it's old doesn't mean that it should be disqualified from some sort of...
you know, MAME machines kind of bug me a little bit.
Yeah.
And this thing is just one big MAME machine.
Right.
It's not a real arcade machine, as far as I'm concerned. I know the guy did a lot of. I mean, it looks cool. I mean,
Right.
it's a neat prop, it would, or something, but they need to change the definition of what it is.
Right. That's why I say it needs to either be considered the tallest MAME cabinet in existence or emulation cabinet or something like that. You just have to get more specific as to what world record this is actually holding, since technically, no, it's not the largest arcade machine ever developed.
I kind of have issue with that definition on Wikipedia because I mean, how many games actually take coins anymore? Dave & Buster's, you don't put coins in anything. I mean,
Right.
so.
Well, I think the industry, there's been a lot of hand-wringing over this over the past few years due to the fact that card swipes or paying with your smartphone or digital currency or whatever, that's come into play. And so coin-op industry isn't exactly accurate in all cases anymore, even though the games haven't changed, just the method for payment has. And so what I've seen them go towards is more out-of-home entertainment devices. Seems to be the
Well, I mean,
trend.
technically the games on the Midway, like the fishbowl game and the basketball game, where they have an attendant, are still arcade games technically.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah, I guess we just
Wikipedia
haven't
is not
found
good.
something as nice. We haven't found something that rolls off the tongue as nicely as coin op, as you say, pay op, and that nobody the word pay has that connotation with it that people don't like. I mean, you may as well say like tax op or something like that for the same connotative effect. Don't know if that's
I mean, it's a really neat thing that the guy built. It looks, it makes you feel like a kid.
right.
But it's definitely not. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't deserve the title of legit game. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a grumpy old guy, I guess. So, and there's a lot of other like games that you just told us about that deserve that title. So I don't know. They just need to do their research at Guinness a little better, I think.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go off to. We got some new game news to talk about here, I think.
Yeah. Since our last podcast, where we're hitting September now, we're finally starting to get some news about games. The summer oftentimes is a doldrum as far as new game news happens to go. But the first thing that hit the news wires was, well, I guess technically for the season would be the Angry Birds arcade, which is still Dave & Buster's exclusive, although that will be coming to an end next.
I heard that they were leaving Dave & Buster's. Is that true? Like that's only there for a limited time? Someone said that in like a Let's Play video.
So sorry, what?
Someone said that the Angry Birds arcade game is only at Dave & Buster's for a limited time. Is that true?
Yeah. That I actually put that in the headline for the story when it first broke. Was that it's an exclusive through Labor Day. So after
no, but
Labor
someone was
Day,
saying that they're taking the game away after a certain amount of time.
oh, that I don't know.
Maybe
Not sure. I mean, that probably depends on how well it's doing. If every location's not doing gangbusters with Angry Birds, then they might get rid of it. Whereas, if a location's doing really well with it, they'll keep it. But, I mean, this was something I was wondering about when I first heard the announcement is, does Angry Birds have that power anymore, that earning power at this point? Because
I don't know. I watched a lot of Let's Plays, and people seem pretty excited,
That's good.
Angry Birds is always a fun game. I mean, I call it the Pac-Man of mobile, so really, I mean, it's a breakout.
Could say Minecraft could fit that description pretty
well.
well.
No, Minecraft is not really a mobile game.
Well, I know it's not really a game; it's more of a sandbox experience. But still, I
just trust me. I played a lot of Minecraft.
Culturally, I think Minecraft definitely decimates anything else out there right now. I mean, anybody that has kids in school know that kids talk about Minecraft now like we talked about Super Mario Brothers back in the 80s at school. I mean, it's a cultural phenomenon, whether you love or hate it. It's definitely fit that bill.
Yeah, but it didn't originate on mobile. That's right. That's where I'm getting it. Like, this is kind of like one of the first mobile games you really kind of. I mean, one of the first ones I liked. It was kind of popular. Minecraft was ported to mobile and it did really well. but the computer one was always better. I mean, it's still a port. So, and they ported Angry Birds to computer, vice versa, and everything else under the sun.
Yeah, it's done
Now
well
they ported
on
to
Nintendo
arcade.
systems. But
But it's still a fun game, and I don't. It may be an older license, but it doesn't matter. It's a fun game. So, I mean, people are still playing Candy Crush, and that license is pretty old too, right? And they just came out with, not too long ago, some redemption units.
right.
So, I don't know.
But on top of that, the newest game would be Pink Panther, which is also by Ice and Play Mechanics. Angry Birds Arcade was developed by Ice and Play Mechanics. But the Pink Panther Jewel Heist actually introduced a joystick. We haven't seen too many joystick games coming from major manufacturers in recent years. I mean, Subway Surfers had a joystick, but not much else is out there.
Battle Royale, but
Yeah, Pac-Man Battle Royale and technically Star Wars Battle Pod or Mock Storm would all fit that, but yeah, there haven't been a lot of games that fit the bill. But yeah, Pink Panther Jewel Heist, using the Pink Panther license from the old cartoon, not the Steve Martin live-action version.
Oh, darn.
That would have been fun. So yeah, there was that. Sega also showed off the new Sonic Dash Extreme game at the AAMA Gala. I know some people have different pronunciations. I'll say Gala, but that's coming in October, so not too far off. That's an endless runner game like Temple Run or Subway Surfers, but with an enormous D-pad for the control and a 55-inch screen. So I probably won't come across one until IAPA myself, but I do wonder how that could do. I know it has an amusement-only option. I don't know if many locations would get it as amusement-only. They probably keep it tickets, but Sonic the Hedgehog coming to... for me, if I was to get one, I would set it up amusement only and just see how it would perform as a video only game. See if Sonic the Hedgehog has that.
That's another one with the... Wait, I'm looking at Dash. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, Sonic Dash Extreme. So that is a mobile game that's been now hitting the arcade scene. And
I really want a ticket location now. It's all this cool stuff, man.
What's that?
I said I want a redemption location. God. I gotta find a place.
Oh, I got
so I can buy some of this stuff,
I gotcha.
I can always get a prize up, right?
And then after Sonic Dash, there was also a new kiddie ride that's interactive called Dolphin Star that Baron Games International has released. Sure, I'll see that at IAPA as well. And then there is one that's mentioned here just exclusively for the podcast. So if you're listening this far, congratulations. You've heard it here first about a brand new arcade game that's going to be hitting the streets the beginning of 2016. And it's a new game by Raw Thrills. I've mentioned it before. When I first found out about Jurassic Park Arcade, the sales or the guy that was telling me about it was or showing me the Jurassic Park pictures mentioned, oh yeah, there's also a racing game in the works, and it's not super bikes, it's a licensed property, everything in its license, the riders, the bikes, the tracks, and so you'll be seeing that one before too long, he said, and said leave it up to me to guess as to what license it was. I mean, I looked around a little bit. There aren't too many licenses that involve motorcycles, but MotoGP is one of them, and so found out today for certain that it's MotoGP is what's coming along. So don't have enough detail to go on beyond that yet. Just confirmed that MotoGP is the game, so it'll be at IAPA, and I'm trying to find out when I'll be able to get more details to share on the website. So for now, we'll keep this as a podcast exclusive.
It's a cycle game?
Yeah, motorcycle game, and supposed to have some features of some kind that do set it apart from superbikes. Graphically speaking,
Maybe more
sound,
of a kind of game, you think?
yeah, other things like that. So it's not going to be not going to be exactly like super bikes from everything I've been able to pry, but
They don't have
yeah,
anything about it on the website. So.
well, yeah, there's been very little. Just all I was able to find out a little bit today from somebody that leaked me something. But
Well, that sounds cool, man.
yeah, I hope to find out more very soon, and I kind of want to actually unveil any information I can get my hands on about it via video as opposed to just a straight post.
Now,
And see how
I'll
that
ask
goes.
you an important question here. Okay. Now, does the game grid have a cycle game?
Actually, we don't.
Oh, see, now there's a big hole to fill. Okay.
Right. I've had some operators tell me before you should get a motorbike game in
That's
here.
probably me.
There's been some others, and so who knows? Depending on how this MotoGP shapes up.
And the chicks dig the cycle games. Okay, I'm just telling you.
Right. Well, they have at the trade shows. Every time I've seen them, I've seen a lot of ladies giving them a spin. So I haven't been sure why that is, but
cycle games do really well. So it don't even matter if it's new or old. It don't matter. They'll play it.
Once or twice I've come across some older ones, like there's been some Sega ones. One was Motor Raid once, which wasn't as well known, but it was cool. Yeah, I mean I liked that. I liked how it looked, just because to me it was kind of like
it's like Mannix TT. Oh,
right, right. Yeah, I know it's technically kind of along the Mannix lines.
It's a Mannix TT cab. I don't know.
Right, and I've seen a Mannix TT for sale before, although it was a bit beat up and didn't have the bike swiveling side to side and whatnot. But
sure.
Or Vapor TRX, or Road Burners, or Harley Davidson.
Don't get Harley. That one's not good. That's a dog.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That game has never done good. It's just because it's open world and people get lost. Honestly.
But do you mean the older one, or do you mean the newer one?
The Sega one. I don't know which one.
Well, Sega did two of them. They did one in 98 or 99, somewhere around there, and then they did another one back in 2009. Which,
really?
Yeah.
It was the Naomi one that I'm thinking of. So.
Okay, yeah, you're thinking of the original one that most people actually have seen and played, as opposed to King of the Road, which was Harley Davidson, but it
didn't do
seem
good
like
because
it was
people remembered the other one, like me.
Right. I think it was confusing to people. But
you know what really did good was like Cyber Cycles for some stupid reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Mannix TT always did good. Super Bikes they kill it too, you know.
Right.
And I have Niren from Namco, so that one does good too.
Oh, that's surprising because I know Namco did not sell that one for too long, as Super Bikes essentially beat the snot out of it in terms of sales.
Well, I got the deluxe with the larger monitors.
Nice.
So
yeah, I know they were pricier than the Super Bikes, but
I got them really cheap. Don't say anything.
Yeah, graphically they were definitely better, and the gameplay was more technical than Super Bikes, which is pretty much just cruising USA with motorcycles.
Yeah, I like it better than Super Bikes. People don't seem to care. I mean, they just play because it's a bike game. Honestly,
yeah.
It's got cooler, I guess the Super Bikes has flashing LEDs all over it too.
Sure.
This has got flat panels. I think it makes it look newer. The Super Bikes, you can get. It depends what Super Bikes you get, but
yeah,
there's
Super
ones
Bikes too.
Yeah, I see a lot of the originals around.
Yeah, that's true. There's still a few of those, but yeah, either way, this MotoGP game, I think will. I mean, at least from what I was hinted at, they're really excited about it, a lot more excited than they were about Winter X Games Snowcross or either Super Bikes. So who knows? Maybe it could end up being bigger.
That Snowcross didn't do good, you think? I mean, do you have snow? You have snow by you, right? Salt Lake City? I don't know. I keep thinking I asked you this once.
Well, yeah, we're known for our snow. Greatest snow on earth goes the trademarked motto. But I don't have a Snowcross. And the odd thing was, when it first came out, there was a local distributor here, Mountain Coin. They don't exist anymore. But they were fire selling it, I think, only within a month after it actually ended up for sale. Like, I think they were caught off guard. They expected it to sell really quickly, and it didn't. But I don't know why this is, but it seems like a lot of locations only bought one as opposed to linking them. It's like if you did that, then I could understand why the game might not have done as well. And I don't really understand why they wouldn't do that, because I mean, it could link up to 8, and I liked that it had the wind effect in it. You could also throw snowballs, kind of like Arctic Thunder. Yeah. So I don't know the whole story on that.
That's really weird because Arctic Thunder always did good.
Right. And I think that's what they expected out of it, but by all accounts, it doesn't seem to me like that one's done as well. As far as I know, it's still being manufactured. I do know for sure that Dirty Driving's no longer being manufactured, so if there's any out there, you have to get what's left, or otherwise go secondhand. And another exclusive thing here, Tipster on YouTube sent me a link to something that shows a small, tiny sliver of a game sitting next to a Fishbowl Frenzy, and even though it's a tiny sliver and you can't really see anything about it, it's Q*bert. And,
really?
Yes. So it's raw.
Redemption?
Well, that's the thing, is it looks, from the look of it, it's a flat panel screen that's shaped in the same way that the Barrel of Monkeys cabinet is.
Okay.
But the only thing you can see is like the very edge, like there's nothing of the screen that you can see, so can't really see the game at all. There's nothing to see there. But on the side, the artwork on the side shows the cubes. It shows Q*bert itself, and you can kind of see the T with the Q*bert, classic Q*bert spelling. So it does look like it's a video redemption game. I did try to get information about it, but they said, well, we don't know anything about it at this point, so they wouldn't give me anything for now. Could be early, could be that
it must be a location test somewhere.
It is.
Did you make out where it was, or no?
I don't remember the name of the place, but apparently it's famous for testing out Raw Thrills product. It's in Illinois, of course. I mean, that's usually where all those companies test things, is in their own backyard. But Party Palace or something like that, I think. But they actually have a never released standard version of Jurassic Park, which uses the mounted gun style cabinet that they used for Aliens Armageddon and Terminator Salvation.
Really? That's too bad.
Yeah, I asked about that too, and they said, oh, no, that was an old test model, and we have zero plans on releasing that. Probably.
I was watching Nick from the Arcade Hunters, and he went to Disney Quest too. Did you watch that video? And
I haven't had a chance yet. I know it's a 50-minute video, the final Disney Quest video, taking a look at everything there. But I definitely
he saw the one of the 2 prototypes for the Cars arcade game.
Oh, nice.
Which will obviously is not being made.
Yeah, I did get to play that one. I have a video on my YouTube channel showing it at Amusement Expo 2011 or 2012, one of those. And so I did get to play it before they made the 200 units or so for Chuck E. Cheese's and Disney. So
they didn't make any of them, I thought.
No, they did. They did make about 200 of them, from what I was told. And so,
really?
Yeah.
He says in the video. He said in the video that there's only the 2, and they never released it due to some problem.
Yeah, that would be inaccurate as well. I mean, Disney would have the 2 prototypes. Those were location tests, and because it's a Disney property, they held on to them. But Raw Thrills did end up making 200 units for Chuck E. Cheese's. Now, obviously, 200 is not enough to fill out all Chuck E. Cheese's out there. But and actually, the thing is I was told about the development of that game. What was it, 2010-ish, about 2 years before they showed up with it, because I actually had the team that was developing it came into my arcade. They were based out of Salt Lake City, because Disney actually has several locations here in Salt Lake City where they have their video game guys. I think they've scaled back on that from where it used to be, but got this close to going over and visiting it and seeing, and I almost got it location tested. But apparently, it first started out as being like Tokyo Drift or Cruising USA, just the point A to point B type racing. But then something went wrong. I think Disney had to lay some people off, and so this project was scaled back, and then they just ended up porting Cars 2 from the Xbox 360 over to the arcade, and
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Fight it. And so, yeah, I do know for sure.
Let's plays on it,
I'll just I've got a video on it.
Well, no, I mean, but like at Chuck E. Cheese,
right?
Usually the usual suspects go. I mean, I wonder if I got. Are you sure about that? The 200? I mean, I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not done.
I had a VP of Raw Thrills tell me that's how many they made, and that it was specifically for an order to Chuck E. Cheese's. But again, where Chuck E. Cheese has over 500 locations, it's certainly possible that it just ended up in places where the Let's Play type people don't visit, or
I don't know. Well, if you're out there, make a Let's Play video. Let's go. If you're listening to this podcast, prove me wrong.
It's a lot like watching somebody play the Xbox 360 version, and there's nothing terribly special about it. But
I know, but it's so weird.
Same thing with Sega's KO Drive. That was about the time where I played the last version of KO Drive before that was permanently canned. Now that one, I'm not aware of it being made in any small quantities outside of just what they develop for trade shows. But I played 2 or 3 different versions of that game. And yeah, they just could not figure out what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah, I'm not doubting you, man. You're probably right. A lot of the other stuff in that video was wrong. So. No offense, Nick.
Well, no, Nick's right that there were those 2 prototype units were made for the location test. As I'm pretty sure that what I had played at the Amusement Expo was going to be the production version. But what Disney has, the cabinets are slightly different. They weren't as fancy or nice as what the production units were going to be. But I imagine whatever they did with Chuck E. Cheese's just was
if they went to Chuck E. Cheese
to recoup some of the development costs that they probably ended up wasting on it.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, if they went to Chuck E. Cheese, they'll get it eventually.
Right.
They should get a lot of that stuff. So.
And then, that's not the first thing that Raw Thrills has canned. There was the American Idol arcade machine back in 2010, 2011.
Redemption piece or the...
It was kind of like that.
Merchandiser.
Well, not exactly. It was what it was going to do. I mean, I guess it would be classified as a merchandiser. What would happen is it was kind of like a photo booth in that you would stand in it, you would sing to it, you could record your song or audition or whatever and have it burned to a DVD and then go from there. But they called it American Idol Arcade. It's just, I think,
because there was the one from Baytech.
Yeah, there was Baytech's American Idol, but this was going to come out a little bit after that, but it was about the time where American Idol started going down in the ratings, and so I think it took too long to finish development, and that just ended up canning it.
Yeah, even Baytech reskinned it to be Superstar or something like that.
Right, because it bombed. I saw earnings on that, and it just did not do well. And so I'm sure Raw Thrills saw the dropping earnings, like, let's not waste our time. Because I know they want to see the licenses hit certain levels. That's why they canned the Tron Legacy game, or the concept. I don't know how far along that got, but I know it got at least to the paper prototype stage. There was going to be a Tron Legacy motorcycle racing game.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome.
And the thing that I thought of when I heard that it was canned, it was actually developed by the guys who did or it was proposed by the guys who did H2 Overdrive and Batman and Dirty Driving. The way they described it is, you would have sat on light cycles from the newer movie and would have had levels and situations from that. But, what I was thinking about was like, so what if the movie didn't meet the absurd expectations that it had at the time, because you might remember everybody was talking about it as though it was going to be the next Avatar, and I mean that was an absurd thing for anybody to have guessed. Anyways, just because they used the same cameras from Avatar to do the 3D doesn't mean that had the same director or anything like that. Or I mean, if James Cameron had directed Tron Legacy, then okay, sure, I could have guessed that, but he didn't. So
they would have sold a ton of those games.
That's the thing, is like if you looked at the original Tron arcade machine, that's famous for making more money than the movie did. And so
just look at what the pinball game did. People bought it I bet you people have bought that light cycle game for their house. I mean,
right, exactly. That would have been a big seller into the home market. So yeah, it is disappointing that they didn't see that, or maybe they had some sort of information telling them that no, it's not worth the investment money. But
maybe
I don't know. I don't. I still think the movie did respectable. It almost made $500 million. That's a lot better than some others out there. So
yeah, I mean, there's been a lot worse movie games. I mean,
oh heck, it didn't. That's more than what Terminator Salvation did. Terminator Salvation only made like $125 million, and yet they went ahead with that. I wouldn't be surprised if you took the collective earnings from all Terminator Salvations out there if it made more than the movie did. You know?
Yeah, that game's got some weird copyright information on it. Did you ever notice?
Yeah,
it's got like Holdings Group and something that's like someone went bankrupt or something. I don't know.
Right.
I think they looked at the old T2 game though when they made that game, and that thing was a huge earning game. It still is, actually, if you have one.
Well, in my Terminator Salvation, I can't complain about that. It still earns well. I've heard some locations out there have said it's gone down, but
it's just they're really afraid of robots.
Yeah, they like shooting them.
They want to kill them. So.
And all of us out here want to play a motorcycle game with light cycles.
That would have been awesome, man. They could
well,
still do
actually,
it.
They technically did in Superbikes 2. There is a hidden bike that if you choose it, it's the Light Rider, I think it's called. And it looks like a Tron Legacy bike, and even the character that sits on it is kind of sort of Tron-like. Obviously, it's not a direct copy due to copyright or trademark issues, but, they obviously acknowledged it in that game regardless.
All right. So,
maybe
one day.
About
10 minutes left in our podcast here, so what else do you want to talk about?
Well, there hasn't been much else news. We've pretty much covered most everything other than a couple new locations out there. If you're in California, San Jose, there's the new Round 1 USA that's opened. That's going to be opening this week. They were supposed to have their grand opening last week, but due to permits and all that fun stuff, it was delayed. So I believe tomorrow actually is the grand opening for that, assuming they've resolved all of that permit stuff.
California permits, go figure.
Yeah, that's always a nightmare. But their games list, which I put up on Arcade Heroes, is like any Round 1 USA, if you're a gamer, then you're going to love it.
Is that an actual picture on the website? Is that actually the location that
yes.
we're talking about?
Yeah, that was the best I could find from their Facebook
So it's
page.
like upstairs in a mall, huh?
Yeah, it is.
So it's going to have bowling in there?
Yeah, all the Round 1 locations have bowling.
Where are they putting it? Like on the roof or what?
I don't know.
God, I wish I was over there. I could see it.
Right, or maybe even though it looks like maybe in the mall it's 2 stories, but some point hits ground level.
Yeah, maybe. It's a pretty bad picture. Well,
yeah, I tried to find something better, but like a lot of locations, they don't really put good pictures until they're actually open, or then you can find users posting pictures from the inside to use.
No, Raw ones are awesome, so I have no complaints there.
They are. Have you been to one yet?
No, not until October. It's planned.
Okay, gotcha.
It's planned we're going, though, hopefully.
And you're going to the one in Illinois there?
I heard that one's not that good, but it's okay. It'll be good for me. So I'm excited.
Right. Oh, you should be. I'd love to go to one of them one of these days. And then also in our location news is there's a place called the Coin Op Arcade. It's really just a barcade in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I did try to get a better list of games, but it really does seem like it's very small, like 10 games or less as far as that goes. So if I was consulting them, I'd tell them get more games in there, because arcades always do better with quantity. But so far, I guess their bars probably carrying them for the most part.
Well, it depends what games they are.
It's all classic stuff: Ninja Turtles, Clax, Street Fighter 2 Pinball, things like that. But it's only one pinball machine, so
well, one is better than none, man.
True. I'm just saying, I just don't want to see something like the Retro Arcade Museum that was in Minnesota, where they only had 25 games. Of course, they didn't have the bar aspect to it that I recall, but they ended up begging for money constantly through Kickstarter and other donation funds, and they were asking for, basically for people to fund their monthly rent, and they just couldn't afford to keep the location going on 25 games. And I don't want to see that happen with anybody else that just doesn't survive because they don't have enough titles there to generate that income. But again, if their bar
it depends what the 25
money.
games are. I mean, if there are 25 initial Ds and deluxe games.
But that's the thing. Usually with places like this, it's 1980s and maybe 90s. Most of the time, they're not going to touch anything newer or that has that huge of a following. Like it or not, Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man do not have the earning power of an initial D.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just depends what they are, Yep. And they need to work too, I mean, it's a big thing. So, but yeah, I mean, it seems pretty cool, and hopefully they do good. I mean, hopefully they get some. I mean, games are expensive, man. You know that. So.
Yep, they can be. So yeah, I definitely wish them the best of luck, and no matter what location. And of course, if you're listening to this and you know of any locations opening up out there, please give us a tip. If I get 5 people telling me about the same location opening up, that's fine. Just as long as I'm sure that I know about it, and I'll report about it. Other than that, I am going to be doing an article here soon. I need to finish putting it together about the prototype games that you can play over at the Galloping Ghost Arcade, because they have an impressive lineup that they've gathered this year. Just this year alone, they've added several more prototype games. Most people think of Primal Rage 2 being over there, but just this week they added 2 new games that were never released by Midway. International Team Laser, which ended up becoming the game called Blasted. And they also just added one that was going to be released in the mid-90s called RC Squared, which is like a remote control video game, or remote control car racing game that was never released. That was actually being done with Electronic Arts, and that had been canned. So I'm going to have an article about that soon.
Awesome, man. Can't wait. I have to go down there one of these days, too. It's not really a family-friendly place. So.
Oh?
Is it? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, well, I'll get over there one of these days myself, and
maybe I'll come to your place and jam up some coin mix.
Yeah, please do. Not sure how to respond to that.
Just trying to lighten it up, man. You can kick me out of the game grid. I'm going to be banned forever.
Right, I'll bounce you.
Get the old Billy Club out.
Actually, that's an arcade game prototype I'd love to find. I know it's a holy grail for a lot of prototype fans is Bouncer. That was never released, but there was some footage of it from the early 80s. It was like 1983, 84, by a company that just didn't make it, and game ended up getting canned, but nobody's ever found a board for it or ROMs, anything like that. But the premise was you play a bouncer and you just gotta throw people out of the bar that get unruly. And
wait a minute, now I find offense to that. I take offense. Wait a minute.
Maybe that's why they canned it, is because you were offended, so you ruined video gaming. Congratulations.
Woo! Suck on that, ball. Wait a minute. All right. Well, that's it for the Arcade Heroes this week, I think. We're out of storage space of this cassette reel here.
Well, close us out with your end of things.
My end of things. Well, it depends what end you want, but you can always find us on the web. You can find Adam. He'll tell you where you can find me. You can find me at allcastlegames.com, on Facebook at AC Games Live, or on Instagram at allcastlegames. So, and some other places too, like YouTube.
Right. And for Arcade Heroes, it's arcadeheroes.com. On Facebook as well, just search Arcade Heroes, or Twitter, or Google+. YouTube channels The Atarian. And, of course, if you're interested in clothing yourself with some awesome arcade t-shirts, be sure to check out tpublic.com/arcadeheroes.
No, buy from mine, all right? Don't listen. Don't listen.
Buy from mine. I've got awesome t-shirts.
I got like
brand
two
new.
sides.
I've got almost 20 shirts at this point, and just published one that says,
Quality
I
over
survived
quantity.
the great video game crash of 1983. You know you want to be walking around in that one. That's sweet. Or only at arcades, extra sweet, or video
That looks like a ripoff of something Microsoft did. No offense, bro.
I don't do blue screen of death t-shirts. What are you talking about, Wiz?
Well, I almost spilled a soda.
Anyways,
buy some t-shirts, people. Sorry, man. Take us out.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys in 2 weeks' time.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Well.